It's recording time. Hey, what is going on, guys? Taylor, aka Red Ranger 02 here. Today I'm going to be getting straight into today's video with my top 10 favorite Megazords of all time. Now, one thing to take note of is I don't have to own the toy version of the Megazord for it to be on this list. If it's in a Power Rangers TV series, it can be on this list. Now at number 10 is the Gosei Great Megazord. Now while Power Rangers Megaforce was not all that great of a series, I do own the Gosei Great Megazord toy. I don't have it readily available right now, so I'm not going to be pulling it out, but I really do like the actual toy because of what you can do. I like the fact that you can actually put the wings from the top and then be able to put them behind the shoulders folded up. Now, while the angel theme from Goseiger, the Japanese version of Power Rangers Megaforce, was not carried over, I like the fact that you can kind of give the Megazord a bit of an angel motif. Now, yes, while I ended up saying if I don't own the toy version, it can be on the list, but if I do own the toy version of a Megazord or a specific Megazord, I am going to talk about it if I really want to. For example, the Turbo Falcon Megazord from Power Rangers Super Megaforce. Now, while this was never in the TV show, there is the toy for it, and honestly, I like it. I like the fact that they took the Turbo Falcon Zord and were able to actually come up with a Megazord form for it. That was never in the original Japanese version. I mean, come on. I would have thought this was something that Japan took out, but no, this is actually something that Bandai added. Hey Bandai, if you kept on doing stuff like this, you might have still had the toy line. Now, while unfortunately I don't own the toy anymore, at number 8 we're going to be talking about the Zeo Megazord. I had to try very hard not to say Geo. Anyway, also, if you guys hear, like, storms outside, I'm sorry, it's raining, I can't help it. But anyway, the Zeo Megazord was a pretty simple design, but I like the fact that it had the 5 different helmets, which ended up giving it the 5 different abilities that it had throughout the series. Number 5 ended up allowing it to summon the sword. Number 4 ended up giving it powers over gravity. Number 3 gave it telekinesis. Number 2 gave it rocket power. And number 1 just gave it a big old honking cannon coming out the top of its head. Now, while that seems a little silly and gimmicky, I don't know why, but I really freaking liked it. Zeo was one of those Megazords, I don't know what it was, the design and everything about it just immediately caught my attention. Now at number 7, I'm going to be talking about the Wind Ninja Power Zord, or the Ninja Storm Megazord. I can't remember, it had a really weird name in the show, and the toy itself had a bit of a weird name. Yeah, told you it was raining. On top of that, couch is up now. Anyway, I really ended up liking the just overall design of the Megazord. Sure, it was primarily the Lion Zord with then the Dolphin as the arm, and then really couldn't even tell the Falcon Zord was the head for the most part. I don't know what it was, though. I still really like the design. Even though, despite it being part of a ninja series, really didn't look like a ninja whatsoever. Now coming in at number 6 is the High Octane Megazord. Yeah, I couldn't remember the Ninja Storm Megazord's name, yet I can remember the name of this thing. I don't know, there's just something about it. While it's a simple red, yellow, and blue design, I really like almost the layered look of it. You got red on top, yellow in the middle, and then blue right there on the bottom. Even though if you're going by numbers, it should go 1, 2, 3, wait a minute. Was this Ju-Oger before Ju-Oger? They were stacking before Ju-Oger stacked. Anyway, I just like the design of it, and I actually like the articulation that we get in it. We get the normal armor articulation, also we get that cool elbow bend that, while you don't think it adds too much, you can get him in a pretty dynamic looking pose. I mean, looks straight up like Superman in a way. Also, yes, he is a bit beat up. I got him secondhand. Anyone want to donate me some parts? I need a sword. And I need her wheels. Anyone want to donate some parts? Please? At number 5, I'm going to be talking about the Time Force Megazord. Now, while I unfortunately don't own it to actually show it off, I love this Megazord in its toy form and in its show form. I used to own the toy, but I lost it some time ago. But the Time Force Megazord having 3 unique modes, its jet mode, its blue mode, and its red mode, just make this an all-around cool-looking Megazord. Definitely had the futuristic vibe that the entire series was going for. At number 4, I'm going to be talking about the Mystic Force Megazord. Now, I do own the Mystic Force Megazord, or it did. Unfortunately, there was an accident, and pretty much all the Zords for it got broken. But I love this thing. The Mystic Force Megazord, each Zord actually felt like its own individual action figure. And then on top of that, it just felt like the Dragon and Megazord modes were just a bonus. Overall, this was a really freaking good toy, and it was just impressive to also see in the show. Anytime they did the battle with the upgraded Megazord, which I think was like the Chimera Megazord or whatever, I wasn't a real huge fan of that. I really did prefer the Mystic Force Megazord over everything else. At number 3, I'm going to be talking about the Super Train Megazord from Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. This thing was large and in charge. I love this thing. I liked it a lot more than the main Megazord of the series, just the plain Lightspeed Rescue Megazord, and I knew this was going to be my favorite Megazord throughout the rest of the series. There was no reason, I didn't like the Titanium Zord as much, or the Omega Megazord that they ended up showed up later. This thing was huge, and it honestly, I think, is probably one of the biggest Megazords that we have ever gotten toy-wise. Unfortunately, I've never owned the Super Train Megazord, but honestly, if I could find that thing for a good price, I'd shell out some good money for it. Now, while I like all the high-tech Megazords and stuff like the Time Force Megazord, the Super Train, just all these really high-tech Zords, while I do like those, at number 2 is something a lot more simpler, but also still way, way cool. And I'm talking about the Wild Force Megazord from Power Rangers Wild Force. I freaking love this thing. Shark, lion, tiger, eagle, bison, all 5 of these animals coming together to form this awesome looking Megazord. It truly looked like it was supposed to be the king of the wild, the king of all animals. It was just impressive to look at, impressive to see it fight in the show, and honestly, I would die to have a toy of the Wild Force Megazord. It would be freaking awesome. I honestly have been looking for Gao Kings, I've been looking for Wild Force Megazords, and if I find one for under $80 or $80, it's over. I'm going to finally have that in my collection, and I think I would honestly be satisfied. But there was one Megazord from Wild Force that I did have in my collection. At number 1, my favorite Megazord of all time is the Predazord. 2 Megazords in one with 3 very impressive Zords. Need I say more? This thing looked impressive in the show, and it was a really fun toy to have while I did. Unfortunately, the same accident that happened that took out the Mystic Force Megazord took the Predazord with it. But it was awesome to still have. Well, there you guys go. My top 10 favorite Megazords of all time. Let me know what some of your guys' favorite Megazords are in the comments down below. And I will see all you dudes in the next video. Power down!